All right, I'm here with a massive dude, and he happens to be super tough too. Big fan of this guy. I got many reasons I'm a big fan of this guy, but Wyatt Hendrickson, brother, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, bro. Yeah.
I mean,
that was a good introduction. I like that. I'm here with a massive name. I'm
yeah,
like, yeah.
I mean, listen, dude, you take up the full love seat.
I was gonna say it'd be struggling if someone wanted to come sit next to me right now.
Well, I mean, that's why it's called love seat.
Yeah.
You get the girl. Yeah, exactly. So are you married?
I am.
Okay, so
My beautiful wife,
there
Emily.
you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How long you been married?
I've been married. So we got married actually. We eloped in May.
Eloped? So mom and dad know?
Oh yeah, we told them.
Okay.
But it was more just we're gonna have a big wedding down the road.
Yeah.
But I mean, for us, we'd been long distance for a year, and I'm like, well, I want her to be up here, but it's kind of hard to like logistically. We're like, hey, if we like get you in a separate apartment, and I kind of just looked at her. I'm like, hey, like, I love you. I know you're the one for me. Like, do you want to get like, let's just get married. Like, you can move in with me. And she's like, yeah, like I'm in. So
that's cool.
Then we're like, all right, well, I think we actually had our date because we had like, she's from Colorado.
Okay.
So we went in the mountains. Cool. It was such a great ceremony. Well, mainly because it was just us. Like, it was just our families, like mom, dad, brother. And there was not have to worry about doing anything for anyone, or it was the best wedding day I could have ever asked for. So we actually had the date set. Because like, hey, like families meet up in Colorado on this day. We're gonna go to this place. Yep. We had that all set before I actually proposed. So I was running out of time. I was like, I need to give her this ring before.
Oh,
so I proposed. Like, well, we knew. Obviously.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But it was really cool. It was cool.
That makes sense. I like the idea of like the shotgun wedding and the eloping, but for you guys, right?
Exactly.
That's so cool.
There was no stress, no nothing. There was no time frame. We didn't have to worry about anything. And I've heard a lot of people on their wedding day. Because I do think, I mean, I was kind of not against weddings, but I'm like, dude, you were spending a lot of money.
Yes.
And it's like, we don't even get to enjoy it. It's for everyone else. But for us, we had our day. We had our moment.
That's cool.
But then she did want her moment in that pretty wedding dress. Sure. And I'm like, she is beautiful. So I'm like, all right, I kind of want that too. So we're still going to have a nice wedding, but it's more like laid back. We've been married. We're good to go. But it'll be a good day for everyone else and have all those. It's so neat. I was thinking about that because even my groomsmen, I've got 9 of them. Wow. And they're all from different stages of my life. Like, I got my boys from when I was like born that I met. Yep. I got my guys I met in elementary school. I got the guy I met in middle school, then my high school boys, and my college guys. So I'm like, I'm so excited to have everyone come together and just like finally meet each other. Yeah. So it's more than just like
for sure
the ceremony. It's like, hey, like these are the guys I spent my life with. And we're all going to get together. We're all pretty similar. So I think that's so cool too. So I'm like, okay, we got to have a real wedding.
I love that. Yeah. That's really cool. I think everybody should do that. I think that's a great idea. People should do the double. Take the one, do the one.
I like it
for you guys, and then have the party for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that might be the new trend. Because even, well, I mean, like, because we want to follow, like, we did not want to move in with each other before we got married. But also, like, it's expensive to have like 2 different rental places. But I'm like, hey, like. I made sure, like, hey, you sure you want to do this? Because, I mean, we both said, like, hey, I'm getting married one time. Yep. So you got to do it with me the rest of your life, no matter what happens. So
yeah, no, for sure.
I say divorce is not a thing. It's never going to happen. So you got, like, I'm not, if you say yes, like, this means yes forever, not just for,
Yeah, I love it. That's good. So before you're married and all this stuff, I mean, first off, how long you been with your bride? Like,
we've known each other for about 2.5 years.
Did you meet at college?
We did. Okay. She did not go to the Air Force Academy. Okay. She went to UCCS, which was like 30 minutes away. Okay. It was a friend of a friend thing. It was actually, nice. I mean, it's a long story, but long story short, my buddy got super sick, almost passed away, and he's with me in college, and now he pulled through, he made it, and we're like, hey, because we never go out, we never do anything crazy, but we're like, we're going to celebrate your life, and we're going to go buy a beer at a place, go at a bar, and just like celebrate you not dying.
Yeah.
And that same night, one of my other buddies on the wrestling team, his fiance goes to UCCS on the basketball team, has a bunch of roommates, and they actually we ran into him in the middle of the street going downtown, and I was like,
who's that?
Who is that? I was like, dude, because I'm not afraid of women, but I'm so bad at talking to women. It's not my thing. And it was a really weird first day because I was just like, hey, like,
you forgot all your words.
Yeah, well, she was so beautiful. I was like, oh my gosh. But then I was lucky enough to score a second date, like a double date. I was like, hey, can you maybe introduce us again? Because I didn't really know what to say that night.
That's good.
And it was just like ever since then, I was like, cool. This is the one.
That's awesome. I love it. But so she's not from your home area. Mm-hmm. Does mom and dad love her?
Oh my gosh. They were like, my sisters, they still, I mean, like usually they lie as joking, like, oh my gosh, we love her more than you. And they're like, nah, dude, like,
for real.
Like, she's way better than you. And I'm like, that was a good sign for me because they first met her. And I've been in a previous relationship where I was previously engaged.
Okay.
And it was just one of those things where you grow apart.
Sure.
And my family, in that sense, they were like, she was still a great person, everything. But for this person, like, oh my gosh, dude, like, you got to lock this one down.
Yeah.
Last time, like, they liked her, but now they're like, dude, like, I'm going to be mad at you if you don't marry
they're
her.
picking her if you.
Yes. They're like, dude, like, she's going to be your new favorite. So, like, this is up to you. But
That's cool.
It's been great so far.
That's super cool.
I was like, we were in bed last night or 2 nights ago. I'm like, dude, it's already been like 7 months. It felt like yesterday. I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah, it's cool when you meet somebody that you actually do life with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just we're together and you have your life. I mean, my wife and I do pretty much everything together.
Yeah.
And that's rare. You know, we enjoy being together. And that's it's sad, but that's kind of a rare thing today in society.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm glad that there's young people finding that as well. So that's awesome. You grew up though in Kansas, correct?
Correct. Newton, Kansas.
Newton, Kansas. Yeah. So what's that like? Before you're the superhero sitting before me here, who's little Wyatt, right? Are you mean? Are you tough? Are you the short bowling ball kid? What are you?
So I was a late bloomer,
Okay.
to put it simply. So in high school, I went 165, 160, 170, 180. No, 160, 182, 195, 220.
Okay.
So it was like,
Yeah.
And then I kept getting bigger throughout college. I went in college like 220, but I'm gentle. I'm a gentle giant. I think most big guys are.
Yeah.
But I actually wanted to quit wrestling because I didn't want to hurt people.
Wow.
And I was like, I'd be doing moves. I'd basically be doing a half. And if the kid was screaming, I'd let go. My dad's like, dude, like you're not really hurting him that bad. He just doesn't want to get pinned.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand that. I'm like, no, Dad, like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to hurt people.
Wow.
But I mean, it came to that point where I realized that I don't have to be a mean person to wrestle me.
Sure.
Like, even to this day, like, if you step out in the mat against me, I'm going to rip your head off.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as that final whistle blows, it's like, it's a different me. It's that switch.
Sure.
So I kind of realized, it's the competition aspect of it. I'm not a mean person. I'm not a bad person. Because I think some of the wrestlers I knew, not many of them, but a couple of them were mean on and off the mat.
Sure.
And I'm like, I don't want to be like that. Like, yeah, they wrestle tough, but I don't want to be that mean, disrespectful person. And it was, like I said, it was just a very few. That's not the majority of the wrestling community at all.
Of course.
But that was my perception at such a young age. I was like, like these guys are mean too. But then I finally realized, I can be tough in wrestling and then still be nice off the mat. But yeah, I mean, I was just, we moved out. Well, I guess I'll skip to the part where did my life start to interfere, or not interfere, but where it started to develop with wrestling in my life.
Yeah, how old when you started wrestling? How'd you find
When I was
it?
5. So my dad wrestled 1 year in high school. That was it. He was supposed to wrestle a couple more, but life happens. He actually got shot in a hunting accident, which is a crazy story. But my dad, oh my gosh, so I got to tell the story actually.
Yeah.
So he was hunting with his sister, and they were like 15, 16 years old, and his sister was looking down the sight to shoot something, just like a 22 or 22 Ultra, and it was he was like, hey, stop. She's like, I can't see. He's like, well, let me move this stuff in front of your scope. Put it on safety, put the gun down. And she's like, okay. And he starts moving this stuff, and she didn't. She pulled the trigger, and it goes right clean through his bicep.
Oh.
And he's like, you just shot me. And she's like, no, I didn't. Because he's like kind of calm. He's like, no, like, you just shot me. He's got feathers through his jacket, and he's like, no. And she looks, and she almost passes out. And he was more pissed than like, he was like, dang it.
Yeah.
It hit his bone and everything.
Oh my gosh.
But that story, hearing him say it, he's like, I'm like, dude, I would freak out. Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, he was just like, oh man.
Is your dad a tough dude?
Oh man, he's the toughest dude.
Okay.
And that leads into this next story.
Okay.
That was his past. But now, fast forward to me, we moved out to a farm when I was 13, 14, and we plant trees. We have a tractor, we have an auger to dig the holes, but we don't. We just do, we grab a shovel, he throws me a shovel, and hey, let's go dig the hole.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck? And that's kind of when I realized, so my wrestling career kind of jumped when I was from freshman to sophomore year. Freshman year, I didn't even qualify for state. And then sophomore year, I was a runner-up and almost beat a 3-time. His name was Clay Lott. He went on to be an All-American in college, but he was going for his 3rd state title. That was my one loss, or that was the loss I had my sophomore year. But there's that big jump. And when we were at the house digging these holes, I'm like, Dad, like, this is so stupid. Like, why are we doing this? We literally have a machine. Like, no one's going to be able to tell a difference. He's like, well, I will. He's like, when people come over to the house and they see these thousands of trees and like, oh man, you have a beautiful property. Be like, yeah, I did it by hand myself. And just that aspect of it, I realized, because I used to tell him like, Dad, come on, like, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
And he's like, son, stop saying that. You can never be afraid of hard work. As soon as you're afraid of hard work, that's when you're going to start to not see success.
Wow.
And I kind of realized that in wrestling, because when I started to be good at wrestling, I didn't have good technique. I just refused to give up. I just worked hard every single day. And those matches, my, sophomore, junior, even some in my senior year, I wasn't always winning in the beginning. I think my stat was so crazy. Like over 50 or 60% of the time of the matches I won, I was losing going into the third period.
Wow.
In high school. But I would just refuse to give up, and I'd turn them or pin them because they just break, and I wouldn't. So my foundation was built on hard work from my father. And that's kind of, as soon as I had that, because that, you can't teach that.
No.
I mean, like, yeah, you can wrestle tough, but most guys are like, they want to find, like, even nowadays, people are like, hey, like, what's your secret? What's your favorite move? What's your best workout? I'm like, guys, like, I understand you want to get like that edge, but none of this matters if you don't have the foundation of being willing to go into the wrestling room and work hard every single day.
Yeah.
Because kids want to find a shortcut. They're like, oh, like, what's the secret supplement? What's the secret workout? There's got to be something. I'm like, dude, and I've heard this ever since I was a kid, but until you realize this in real life, it doesn't connect with you. But like, there is no secret formula.
Yeah.
Like, even in Kung Fu Panda, like, he opens up the thing and it's him. It's like, dude, like, there is no secret recipe.
That's right.
It's up to you. And that's so true. But growing up, having that foundation was really good, because then when I learned technique, I already had the hard work aspect down. So it was like, hey, it's easy to build from that, versus if you have a guy who's, wants to just learn technique, but he doesn't care about working hard. So.
Were you a multi-sport athlete?
I played football. Growing up, I did baseball. I quit baseball for freestyle Greco, as most people did in middle school. I did track a little bit. I did a lot of stuff, but I'd say I was only doing like baseball, track, and wrestling, football going into freshman year of high school. But then I actually had an injury in football, and I made up my mind. I wanted to be an NFL player.
Okay.
I didn't want to be a wrestler.
Gotcha.
But I finally realized, like, well, wrestling's all I got, and football's off the table. So my dad was like, well, I ain't paying for your college, so it's your choice.
Gotcha.
And I was like, all right, I'm gonna get good at wrestling and
so
try to.
Football injury was bad enough. It was like,
yeah, well, just when you're running, I have a softer head, I guess, so too many concussions. I wasn't really at the limit yet, but I was just getting shaken up, and I was getting afraid to play. I didn't want to tackle someone, but going 20 miles an hour versus 20 miles an hour, that's different, because people are different. People are like, oh, wrestling's dangerous. I'm like, yeah, but it's like a little slam like that. My head can take that, but that type of collision, it started to freak me out. And so
I get it.
I was like, hey, football's off the table.
Yeah, I get it. And I deal with that because I coach high school and club and things like that as well. And a lot of times parents be like, well, they can't do this because they've had concussions. I'm like, it's completely different.
It is different, yeah.
Because we're also not wearing the gear that makes us think that we can slam ourselves.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, like different. It's a false sense of security.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. So you dedicate to wrestling. Is your family involved in wrestling, or just you? Is you got sisters? You said you have brothers as well.
I have a younger sister and an older sister, and no, they're not wrestlers. But my little sister, my older sister was a basketball player.
Okay,
and she was super good at basketball. It's just kind of like one of those stories where she was looking at like Wyoming, all those big D1 schools, but she had a bad knee injury that completely destroyed her knee. She was out for like a full 11, 12 months. Man. And so that was, the big school was like, hey, whatever. But she still saw success. She just went to a smaller school, which is actually good that happened.
For sure.
God does things in your life that you don't understand. Well, she ended up meeting her husband at other school she went to, and that never would have happened when she was looking at Wyoming and stuff. So that was really, it's really cool to see her. And I have a little niece now, Ozzy, Estelle. She's a little cutie. But then my younger sister, she's just like, we talk about good people in the world. She's just a good soul. My older sister is too, like so much. But she, like, the pageant stuff they have. Yeah. I thought I was like toddlers and tiaras, like, oh my gosh, it's me. Well, she got into pageants that was like, no, like, how many community service hours do you do? Like, hey, what organizations do you have there? What are you a part of? And she was a part of a couple of big organizations that I was a part of too. One of them was called Stand. Like, it's about just we stand up for drugs, and that's when vaping was a big thing. Our line was "Stay cool, don't jewel," and so like
that's beautiful
stuff like that. But she's like she has thousands of hours of community service.
That's awesome.
And she actually was Miss Kansas Teen, which was pretty cool. So I was really proud of her for that. And she still does some stuff here and there. But
that's cool.
Yeah, they were not part of wrestling.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Women's sport wrestling is blown up. But
but this was back.
Yeah. You said you have a younger and an older sister.
Yes, my younger sister's now 20, and my older sister's 26.
That's cool. That's awesome. Mom and dad super involved in wrestling growing up. Did they go to
heavily. My dad was my coach most of the time.
Okay.
And that's actually probably another piece of it. And there's a lot of other podcasts I've been on, and I think my dad's also been on. One's called Pin It Forward, and it talks about like, hey, like, how is it like being like if your son or daughter's in a sport, like how, like, what's your role in it, and like kind of helps navigate. And I love that that's a thing, because I wish someone would listen to something like that when I was a kid, because my dad was on it, and my dad was most of my coach growing up, and he did everything he thought he could. Like, he was not trying to do anything wrong.
Right.
But some of those times, like the stuff he would say to me after I lost the match, like, it didn't make me want to compete anymore. And I was like, man, like, really? And my dad had all the best intentions in mind. He was just doing what his dad did to him. But I love it because it talks about that. But that was a big turning point for me, was when I went into 7th or 8th grade. I'm like, Dad, like, I don't want you to be my coach anymore. And it was really hard, but it wasn't from a place of hate. It was just like, hey, the way, like, it was just like, I want you to be my dad. I don't always want you to be my coach. And he was just always being my coach all the time. Yeah. And so I was like, hey, Dad, like, please just take your hands off. And he really was like, okay, like, you go ahead. And then I started to see success, because I wasn't now wrestling because my dad wanted me to be a good wrestler. Huge. I was wrestling because I wanted to be a good wrestler. Yep. And so that was like also where I saw myself kind of jump up a little bit.
That's good. I actually was my son's coach for quite some time too, and it was such a hard dynamic. And it's looking back, it's like, man, I did make some of those mistakes. I did, and I tried not to, and I think I mitigated of some of those things, but some of it just leaks through. Yeah. And you want it for your kid. It's not anything I want it for myself. I know how hard he worked. I know all these things, and I wanted it for him so badly. When he comes up short, it's like you say things that you shouldn't say and things like that.
Well, because you drive 2, 3, 4 hours for a tournament and your son doesn't compete. Like, yeah, my dad was pissed at me.
Exactly. So you dedicate to the sport of wrestling. You start finding success in it. And then what's the recruitment process look like? How do you end up? Because I read in here that you kind of weren't even looking at the Air Force, right?
Correct, I wasn't.
So tell me that story.
So the story starts from where I was just sitting down in the living room, like the very first day that colleges can send you a letter, and it said the Air Force. It just said the Air Force Academy, and I didn't really know what that meant. I was like, okay, all I see is Air Force, military. Like, I've been super patriotic my entire life. Okay. Like American flag stuff. Like, even when I was at like 10, 11, 12, like I would put on a wrestling singlet and have like a American flag like taped to my back.
No,
like,
really?
Wakeboarding, like a bunch of stuff.
That's awesome.
And my grandfather was in the Navy, and I actually learned a lot of my dad throughout this process too. But what happened is I opened up that letter with my mom, and she's like, no, I don't want you going to the front lines. That's a big misconception. Everyone's like, military going with the gun. I'm like, there's so much stuff we do besides that. But I didn't know that at the time. But I threw the letter away, and luckily the trash was overflowing, so like didn't really even sit in the trash really. But
so you literally threw it away?
Oh yeah, that's not a figure. I threw it away. I threw it in the trash can, and my dad was like, "What?" He comes sprinting out from the bedroom, like, "Did you say Air Force Academy?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's just the military." He's like, "No, like let me see it," and I showed it to him, and he read it. He's like, "Do you understand what this is?" And I'm like, "Dad, they just want like to recruit me for the military." He's like, "No, like they want you to go to the Air Force Academy. This is something completely different." Yeah. Because my dad actually wanted to go to one of the academies, but he has a disease in his eyes, so he wasn't able to do it.
Gotcha.
But because he knew everything about it though, because he had looked into it.
Yeah.
And he wasn't pushing me to do it. Well, he was obviously like, he wanted me to do it. Yeah. But he wasn't forcing me. But he was like, "Hey, like I just want to let you know, like this is what it's about." I looked into it and I learned more and more. And the more I learned about it, I'm like, it almost sounded too good to be true. That's whenever it's too good, you're like, hey, you can stay away. But then I actually talked to the Air Force coaches, and I'm like, oh, this is like legit. Yeah. Like it's a full ride, $500,000 scholarship, and I get paid while I'm being there, and I'm getting a world-class education. I'm wrestling in the Big 12, and there was just so many good things to it that I wasn't thinking about. And I was like, as soon as I realized that that's what I wanted to do, I'm like, all right, I'm doing this. Like my answer is, I committed really early, but I was on board. I was like, yes, I'm in. But then I started to see more success, and that's when other schools started to reach out, like my senior year, because I ended up ranked like number 2 in the country. When I got recruited, I was like 21st, 22nd. I used to look at rankings all the time. Now I really don't. But when you're in that age, you still don't understand 100%. Yet. So I was doing all that stuff, and I ended up being pretty high up there in Nebraska. A lot of schools were wanting to come and get me. I'm like, dude, like my mind's made up. I'm going to the military. I'm going to the Air Force Academy. Like I'm not changing my mind.
Wow. So I don't know if my wife shared or not, but we're both Air Force. And,
yes, you mentioned that.
And so obviously I was following you for quite some time, before you transferred over to Oklahoma State. And, it was really cool to see the Air Force represented in the military, represented the way it was when you were wrestling, and they had their press box and all, or their box up there and all those guys. It was just cool because, we don't kind of get represented that much at those levels, and you kind of carrying it on your back. I don't know. I think in my mind, it brought a lot of great attention to those, academies. Have you heard that a lot? Have you seen more people looking that direction? Because I think the misconception is you're going to join the military. You know,
and that's what I like to talk about.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people now, it's so, and I love them. I get so many messages on social media. I hardly ever use social media.
Yeah.
I don't have like a social media manager, so I don't see most of these messages. But whenever I do, I have like this copy and pasted thing about it, because like, hey, it's either a dad saying, hey, my son wants to go like the Air Force Academy, the Naval Academy, like what's something we should be doing, or like a kid who's like, hey, I'm interested to go to the Air Force Academy, what should I do? And I can copy and paste it and send it to him.
That's cool.
But I've gotten like hundreds of these messages, even in person. Like, people say that to me. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Because people just didn't really understand it, I feel like, because the last All-American we had from the Air Force Academy, actually any academy before me, was in 2002. And so like it was like 20 years until we had an All-American, then I All-American twice, and then become a national champion after I go to Oklahoma State. So it's like people finally realized, like even after the Gable match, people realized like, oh, who is this guy and what's his backstory, which brought a lot of light to it. And even right now, I'm in a program in the Air Force that's letting me compete at these events.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's WCAP, the World Class Athlete Program, and there's only a couple of us in the country doing this right now. But I'm like, dude, if you want to do it and you've like got the skill, like, dude, try to do it. Like, it's such a great opportunity that people aren't taking advantage of. So even right now, it's awesome. I can represent WCAP and be like, dude, I'm literally in the military getting paid to wrestle right now. Like, there's no better thing.
Honestly, that's kind of a cool thing, because a lot of these guys that are in your position, they're either working, with a university or, a program, and they're collecting some type of stipend or whatever to do that. But you're getting your pay, but you're also wrestling with Oklahoma State, and you're part of USA Wrestling. So you're kind of getting if I'm right, you're kind of dipping into all that, correct?
Yeah. So there's so for most stuff, I can't accept payment. Like even like for RAF, I just kind of do it to compete.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's some other things. They give me some other opportunities to do camps for me, like really great stuff. Or I'll be able to like send the money to like an organization that I want to donate to.
Really?
Like they'll do it. So I don't have to worry about that stuff. But I get my military paycheck, but then also they have it approved for like I can get my stipend through USA Wrestling.
That's nice.
Which so like that's awesome. So I don't have to do really anything.
Yeah.
And I can still do stuff like I have my wrestling shoes I can do. That's just me selling stuff. Like I can, like that's so cool. I can do all this stuff. Cool. So it's really I'm enjoying it. It's really awesome. I don't have to worry about like trying to fight to like negotiate for pay. That's the biggest thing. Like going to a RTC and like getting paid for that, like, dude, I don't have to worry about that. Like I get that military paycheck no matter what.
That's awesome. Is your pay, and not to get too personal, but is your pay just based upon your rank and stuff like that, or do they have a certain? Okay, yeah, okay, cool. That's really neat. Now, how long do they give you? Is it like, well, we're going to see how long you want to do this and do well, or is there a certain time limit they reevaluate?
So usually it's a 3-year window, and the main goal of us as WCAP athletes is to make it to the Olympics and of course win the Olympics. Right. So for me, I graduated in 2024, which is 4 years. 4 years. So they're like, hey, we'll do that 3, we'll get you extended for 4. They're not going to let me go all that way and way back that year before. But most of the time, they want you to. The goal is Olympics. Sure. Now the World Championships is like the same thing, but that's actually not. I don't think they have that in like every single sport. So it's like kind of unique because the Olympics is obviously the overarching. Right. It's the same thing as the World, just with through a different lens. But they usually want it to be you end on Olympic year, but I think since I'm like, hey, I've proven I'm like the best at this level right now. Yeah. And I'm going to stay the best for a while. Like I'm not planning on going away. So after 2028, I possibly could extend to 2032. Gotcha. But at that point, I love wrestling. I love everything it's given me in life, but I think I might be ready. I think in the end, I want to get a different job. I don't see myself as a wrestling coach. Gotcha. So I'm like, hey, at 2028, I'll probably, help out at a club somewhere, but just start transitioning. I still have to do my Air Force time. I have 5 years active duty as an acquisitions officer, which is awesome. It's a guaranteed job. I don't have to, that's another thing. Like, I don't have to worry about job hunting. It's already set up for me. So I think that'd be a good transition to start getting some experience and,
that's cool.
Start veering away from wrestling for a little bit.
Yeah, that's super cool. Now, do you get credit for this time?
It does count as years in service.
It does. So that's cool.
It does count in years of service. It's just since it's a special program, it doesn't count as the commitment.
Right.
Yeah. So like if the commitment's 5 years. So if I wrestled for 1 year, let's say I got hurt and just got out of the program, I'd have 5 years after that. So it'd be 6 total. But I'm planning on wrestling for all 4. So I'll have 4 years in a year, which do count as times in service because if I stay in for 5 after that, it can be considered 9 years.
Nice. Yeah. So that's nice for, if you're looking at retirement or anything like benefits and things of that nature. Yeah, that's super cool. So do you have what was your degree in? Do you have a desired career path based?
Yeah, so coming out of the academy, you get a bachelor's of science, whatever you get. So it's a bachelor's of science in management. So it's not 2 degrees. It's like a similar, I don't know. I took like Calc 2, I took physics, I took a bunch of crazy classes that were kind of annoying, but all for that just bachelor's of science on top of it. But I'm actually getting my master's degree at Oklahoma State. I'm getting my MBA. So I think I want to be a manager somewhere. I love working with people. And I think managing people is really good for me because I truly do care about people. I've had a couple at the Air Force Academy, you get put in jobs that are like within your squadron, which is the people you're around. And I enjoy like caring about people more than just from a job perspective. I really enjoy that. And so I think if I could implement that into a big organization, because I mean, at the end of the day, I know I'm doing good if I can help bless other people and make their life better like that. There's something about that you feel like it's so fulfilling. So I want to work somewhere where I can really help people like firsthand.
That's super cool. I love that. So I want to get, I mean, kind of what makes you, because you kind of have this interesting story where you, like you said, you were good, but you weren't like, world class. And then you kind of, hard work and push to this. Was that the number one key, like ingredient, was just being able to work harder and push yourself harder than other people? Because we got kids that listen to this, we got adults listen to this. And I think that it works in all aspects of life, not just wrestling. I believe that this is a cheat code for life. So I kind of want to know what your path to success looked like so people can kind of emulate that.
Absolutely. I love that question. I know exactly what I'm going to say for this. But like the overarching thing of everything I stand for, really it goes God, country, wrestling. That's like the 3 things. If I could describe myself in 3 words, it's that right there. But when it comes to wrestling, something I've learned is that it's important. Obviously, you want to be confident. You want to have, you want to work hard. But it's almost like there's 2 sides to it. So when I first started wrestling, I've seen plenty of success. I've always like, hey, the harder I work, like the more success I'm going to see. And that's really important because you have to have like that confidence. But what I've realized more and more is that confidence comes from training, but also it comes from God. Like being able to have that confidence, but like only God can instill that in me. So what I've learned is because there's always ups and downs in our life. When I'm really close to Jesus, I'm praying every day, looking at my Bible. There's sometimes that my Bible has been closed for a month. Like it's just like that's the truth of it. Right. I wish I could say no, it's not me, but that's just life. So I've seen whenever I'm like really like, and you can like whenever you pray, sometimes like I say prayers just to pray, and I'm like, man, I'm not even like focusing on what I'm saying right now. But whenever I can really be like, hey, like no, Jesus, thank you for everything you've done for me. Like I really like today's a blessing. Thank you. Whenever I find myself, whenever I'm more connected like that, that's when I feel more confident. Like God's instilling that confidence in me. Like, hey, you trust me here. Like I'm going to trust you in this as well. And so, being at Oklahoma State, surrounded by a great group of guys, it was a growth year for me, just being around so many great people and the Bible studies, everything we had, and going into that national finals match. Without God, I would not have been that confident. Like you look at me and going into that match, like I think the odds was like 99.8 something percent I was going to lose, but something in me was like, I got this. Like, obviously, like he's a great wrestler, but why not me? Like, why can't I do this?
That's so cool.
And so going to that match, it was truly like, dude, like God was with me, because the fact that I could feel confident in a situation like that is like, if it's almost like as if I'm lying.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, until you feel like the Holy Spirit going through in a moment like that, like it was crazy. I just felt that was the best. I woke up that day, had a great breakfast, great lunch, hung with the guys, great dinner. I just felt I was like, dude, this is going to happen. Like this is supposed to happen. And it was just like what God had instilled in me, like that faith and that courage. Like he's like, dude, like you got this. And that, like, that's the second piece of it, is you need to be willing to put the hard work in and be confident. But most of that confidence stuff, like in the end, for those big things, it comes from God. He's the one that truly blesses us to be able to do everything we do.
Yeah, I love that. It's so cool. And it's a great lesson to everybody, because sometimes we get those priorities out of whack, and we start trying to do it on our own accord.
That's when I see the least success. Whenever I try to do it on my own, I love you said that, because many times I've tried to do that. I'm like, no, I got this on my own. Like even for instance, after like even the world championships, I was just kind of like, that was one of the things I kept going to these camps, and I usually do the same little spiel. I'm like, hey man, like I love to mention God. And I was realizing those camps, I'm like, man, like I didn't want to admit to the kids, I'm like, you guys might even go a month without looking at your Bible. And that was one of those months I did it. And I was more focused on me.
Yeah.
And that's after that, it was such a good moment after the world championships, as much as that sounds bad to say, but I learned like, man, like what did the 5-6 months look like for me before NCAAs? And what did the last 5-6 months look like before the or the world championships? And I was doing more like stuff for me, being more selfish. I wasn't giving as much. I just wasn't being that type of person. And when I got to Worlds, I'm like, I don't feel ready. And for multiple reasons. Well, number one, like I wasn't spiritually sound, and also like I hadn't been putting the work in because I've been prioritizing myself versus other stuff. And I did a lot of great camps. I taught a lot of kids, but I was just doing, you know, it was a lot of fun stuff. I'm glad I met so many people, but I was like, man, like the feeling I felt after Worlds is it highlights all those times when you could have worked harder. You got that practice, and when I skipped the practice, I'm like, oh, like I got it. I don't need that.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like God does stuff like in disguise when you're not realizing it. But that was one of those eye-opening moments. I'm like, man, like I need to go back to what my life looked like before this. And so I've really made an effort to be like, I try not to do I don't want to do everything in the world because I got to be more selfish of me and do what makes me a better person. Obviously I want to help everyone else, but I still got to be selfish sometimes.
It's really good because sometimes I think the enemy uses good.
Oh yeah.
Right. He uses good to distract us doing good. Right. Because we think there's no way. No, but it can because it feels good. We do the right thing, but it's a distraction from what God is trying to do in me. Yeah. Because if he can make me focus out here, then that's the intentions, right? Because God's doing all the work in here. Correct. But you know, like that's what I hear you saying is like you were doing good, but it was all out here.
Yeah. You know? Well, God blessed me with that. With, you know, I won the championship. Everything was great, and for that month after was awesome because it was fresh in my mind. I remember how I felt when God was with me on that mat. Like I remembered that feeling. Crazy. And then eventually, the more I speak about it, it just became like more common. And I was like, I got this. Like I'm doing just fine. I'm tough. I'm on. You know, I got this all by myself. Sure. But then the harder you think that, the harder you're going to fall. And I learned a really good lesson. I'm glad I learned.
That's good. Is it hard to stay humble when you have success like that?
Honestly, it's just been a part of who my dad raised me to be. I actually, I get in conversations about this even recently, like at RAF. It's like, hey, like it's really unauthentic for us to like go out and be all boastful. Yeah. Now we're just trying to show some more emotion, but it's not natural for us because our entire times of wrestling, my dad always said, whether you win or lose, after I see you after a match, I shouldn't be able to tell the difference. And that's just, you know, there's a time and a place for big celebration, but I'm not doing, you know, crazy stuff after every single match. My entire like life pretty much until Oklahoma State, I didn't do celebrations. Wow. But at Oklahoma State, every time I pinned somebody, the energy in the room was so good. I'm like, every time I pin someone in Gallagher, I'm gonna do a backflip. That's so which cool. was awesome. Yeah. Like I've been wrestling a long time now, so now it's like these are the times where I can finally step forward and do something. But I mean, I was even talking to Mason a little bit. Like, he's a humble dude. Yeah. And I like to consider myself a humble dude too. So this is like really unique because we're two absolute monster athletes. Like, we love wrestling. We're gonna compete really hard, but it's kind of unique sometimes trying to word it differently because it's like I don't want to talk bad on this dude. Like, he's a good dude, right. But like for entertainment purposes, like I gotta fire it up a little bit. But it's kind of tough for us because by nature, us wrestlers are more humble than boastful.
So true. Yeah, and I think I completely understand what the they're trying to do, but it is kind of a hard thing because and the other thing is we know what it takes to be a wrestler, and for what Mason went through to get
exactly, and I respect him for that. It's hard to I don't want to you get it. It's hard to I understand he worked hard. Like we didn't get here by eating Cheetos on the couch all day.
Exactly. Yeah. Mason's awesome. We love Mason too, and I'm excited for the matchup because you guys both had your successes, but kind of like in your own
in different time periods. Now it's like we're coming back to that's what I like about it too. It's a really good story because he was like the Olympian in 2024, and then obviously he left, and then I had my big success this year. So now it's like two movies finally colliding for the best sequel ever.
Yeah, it's so cool. So you're I know what kind of person you are, and I see kind of the man before me. If you're coaching a room of kids, or you're talking to kids, and you do this all the time, what are you telling them? How are you telling them that if they want to level up, if they want to kind of accomplish the goals and stuff like that, what's the important things for them to focus on?
So whenever I walk into a room, there's like the three things I tell them. It's like, okay, there's three things today. Number one, we're going to be respectful. We're going to be a good person. We're not going to be rude to our partner. We're not going to do any of that. And then number two, well, that doesn't really matter for wrestling purposes. But number three, I'm like, hey, have fun. Yeah. At the end of the day, if you're not having fun, then I don't know what you guys are doing. Yeah. And when I was younger, my dad did a really good job being like having fun, but also like, and sometimes when it should have been more fun, he was just being hard on me. And I'm like, dude, like, let me be a kid. Yeah. He was taking out the like, let me be a kid aspect in wrestling. It was all wrestling. Sure. So I tell the kids, I'm like, dude, like, just try to have fun. Like, I know it'll be tough, but I play plenty of games with them. I make it fun. I try to motivate them any way I can. But if a kid asks me for advice, I say, these are the two main things I'll tell them. That's cool. I'll say, hey, number one, there is no secret to success. Like I just talked about, I'm like, there's no special supplement. There's no special anything. Like you just need to be willing to go in there and work hard.
Right.
Like if you're, by you trying to find a shortcut, that's just telling me that you're not willing to work hard.
Yes.
So I'm like, hey, like I just say, I don't try to break them down. I'm like,
Right,
hey, just realize that like, I want you to be willing to, if you know there's no other way but hard work, like, are you going to listen to me and do that? Or are you going to still try to find a secret way? And then number 2 is when you're in the practice room, it's only, I mean, most kids are in there for an hour, hour and a half. I'm like, how many hours in the day? There's 24, whatever. You sleep for 7. I'm like, if you just go in there and focus for that 1 hour, that's all I ask. You're 1.5 hours. You have the rest of your day to play with your buddies. Like, don't be thinking about food. Don't be thinking about what you're doing later. Like, just focus. Because I found my best practices, if I'm looking at the clock, it takes all day to practice.
Yeah.
I'm in there for hours. But the days I go in there and I'm just focusing on getting better, like it's such a common phrase you hear, but it's so true. Like, if you just go in there and just want to wrestle and just focus on just wrestling, nothing else, it feels like 15 minutes and practice is over.
Yeah.
It's such a different mindset. And that's what made it more enjoyable for me. Because I'm like, man, like what I'm doing, I'm actually applying this to wrestling. I'm learning in this position. And the more you're invested, the more time flies. Like time flies when you're having fun.
Yes.
So I tell the kids, have fun. And most of the time after the camp, I'll say, hey, did you guys have fun? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, we're done, by the way. They're like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, that's the response I want, because that's how I can really tell if they had fun or not.
That makes a ton of sense for sure. Obviously, the sport comes with a lot of adversity. That's
what I love about it.
Yes, of course. And is there anything that stands out that kind of was like the hardest thing that you've gone through? And if so, how did you get through it? Because again, our audience is so vast with different people going through different things, and maybe you could say something or help somebody in that situation.
I'm going to go back to when I talked about that transition when my dad kind of backed off me and I started to wrestle for myself. I actually kind of quit wrestling for a year in there.
Oh, really?
It was called Young Guns Wrestling. It's a place in Goddard, Kansas. That was like a club. It was a really elite club, like the best kids club in the state. And it was like 45 minutes away. And so to do that, I was like leaving like my fun activities with my friends early, we had to drive out there, then drive back. But all my buddies were wrestling in the middle school. I had a great middle school coach. Coach Warren, he did a great job, but it just wasn't the caliber of partners I needed.
Right.
And I wanted to do it because I wanted to hang out with my friends. And I told my dad, like, I kind of mouthed off and it was fine. But I was like, Dad, like, I want to wrestle with my friends at middle school. I don't want to go to Young Guns. And I was like pissed off at this point. Like, Dad, like, let me hang out with my friends. Because I'd missed birthday parties. I'd made so many sacrifices in the past. I was like, I don't want this to be what it's about. Like, I'm not enjoying this. Like, I finally sat down with my dad and he's like, well, is this more fun to you? I'm like, yeah, like night and day difference. He's like, all right, well, I'll let you wrestle in middle school. And that 1 year is like when he wasn't my coach anymore. And so he kind of backed off and I kind of learned about wrestling for myself and kind of relearned to love wrestling. And that's also the years where I watched videos from like Kyle Dake, David Taylor, like those documentaries they have on Flow. Yep. They had a couple of those documentaries that were rolling out and I was watching those, and that's like, it inspired me intrinsically. It wasn't like someone else forced me to get better. It was like, wow, like these guys are great wrestlers. I want to be like them. And so it came naturally. And so I would just say for those out there who, if you find yourself kind of not wanting it anymore, just take a step back and be like, well, why am I doing this? Like, what's my why? And I mean, obviously there's of course like more, like for me, like I wrestle for God because he's gifted me with these abilities, and it would be shameful for me to sit here and waste these abilities he's given me. But like at the lower level, like, are you wrestling for you or are you wrestling for someone else? Because if you're wrestling for someone else, you're probably not going to make it. But if you're wrestling for yourself, like in a non-selfish way, like you're like, hey, like, I'm doing this for me to improve myself. That's most likely what happens is people stop worrying about that and they're like, oh, I'm only doing this because my dad wants me to be good at it. Or I'm only doing this because, so-and-so said I should be successful in this. So you need to want to do it for yourself. That's what I would say. Try to refocus that as the main priority.
That's super good. So did you have a moment that you can think back that was like a defining moment in your career where it's like, this is what I'm doing?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm going to go back to that sophomore year. My freshman year, I wrestled. I didn't see success. I didn't make it to state. Well, my sophomore year, I've been putting all this hard work, but I haven't really seen that success yet. Like, I know I'm working hard. I'm like, well, I think it worked, but I can't tell until you go against competition. Well, it was one match. I even talked to my dad about this. Like, we both know that one moment when I was like, when I really felt I could believe in myself, and I really knew, like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
It was right after Christmas. It was a tournament in Kansas, and I was going up against I was still like wasn't ranked from the previous year. Like I still like, it didn't matter, but I wasn't even like top 15. Maybe I was like 16th, but I was going against the number 2 all class guy in the state, and he had beat me the year before. And this time when I went against him, I don't know what it was, but even he was a little bit like shaking. Like he didn't have that confidence anymore.
Yeah.
Because I had worked hard, obviously. And I was looking really good in the tournament, wrestling in the finals, and I ended up like majoring him.
Wow.
And I was like, as soon as I did that, I'm like, wow, like I could do this. Because before that, rankings were always like, if that's what it's ranked, like they're supposed to win.
Reason.
That's what's so. I hate it because little kids are like, oh, well, he's ranked above me, and when that's in your brain going into that match, you're probably not going to beat him because in your head you've already lost.
Yep.
And I finally realized, like, oh, ranking is just a number.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't actually determine what's going to happen.
Yep.
And that's when I was like, I was not afraid to wrestle people better than me. Because then after that, I faced the number 1 guy in the state and then, like, all the top guys and just beat all of them.
Wow.
Some of them were close matches, but, like, I was beating them because I could believe in myself. I wasn't losing before the match started like I had in the past. But after that first match happened where, like, I beat someone I shouldn't have and quit, so to speak, I was like, oh, I can, like, that doesn't matter. I can still beat this guy up. I can still win. And so that's when I really realized, like, oh, I need to be confident when I wrestle, because if I, like, lose the match before I walk out there, like, that's on me.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to control what I can control, and controlling your emotions is tough because you will feel butterflies. But the biggest thing is you might decipher it as fear, but really it's just you're excited because you want to wrestle. Like those butterflies, like you can perceive it as like being anxious or like, hey, this is excitement. And so I finally made that switch, like, hey, yeah, I feel this type of way, but that's not to shy away from. I'm just excited because I care about this. I care about this sport. I care about the outcome because I want to win. That's
super good, because I think it is hard to distinguish the two sometimes.
It is.
And fear is paralyzing, but excitement it gives you energy.
Exactly.
It's such an interesting thing. I love that you can remember that moment, because I think it's important for us to talk about, and you said it over and over again, how important is self-belief, not only just in the sport, but just in life.
It's so important. Well, what I've learned is you got to control the 4.5. From ear to ear, it's 4.5. Like, your brain is the most important muscle. And like I just mentioned, putting in the hard work is really important. But that second piece is like, hey, God's going to instill that in you, that confidence. Like, that doesn't just come from nothing.
Sure.
And so what I've learned as I've continued to get better and better is you have to be able to control your brain, because it's the most important part of your body. Like, I would rather like have hurt myself, like tweak my knee and still be good in the mind versus go out there healthy but have like a doubt in my head.
Gotcha.
Like, it's so important, because if you look at a match, let's use the Steveson match. Like, if I went out there and I was like content losing, that last, like those instances that were close calls, I probably wouldn't have fought. Like, I probably would have let him get some of those takedowns, because like I'm like, well, that's supposed to happen. And coming down to that final minute, I probably would have tried to shoot. I probably would have tried to shoot to make my coaches happy, but I shot with intent to score and win, not just to make it look like I was working hard. And that's from that mindset, because I was confident in myself. Because in a match, if it's you're down a point or you're tied, whatever, and you're on bottom or you're losing, and you're like, well, like, this guy was ranked better than me, like, this is supposed to happen, you're not going to fight for that. But if you're like, hey, like, for me, it's almost a fact.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, like, I don't think I'm going to win. I'm going to win. And so I'm like, I'm just doing what's supposed to happen. I'm going to work hard to escape and get this takedown because this is what's supposed to happen. So, like, that's just so important mentally to, like, have your head on straight and be confident in yourself. That's probably one of the biggest things. Yeah,
that's huge. And we'll go to that match, and then we'll kind of work backwards a little bit. But I was at that nationals. I don't know if my wife told you, but my son-in-law Salazar already wrestles for Nebraska. He's the 184 pounder for Nebraska. Was 97 then. But anyways, we were there, and there was some controversy about you guys being the last match. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I heard about that after the fact.
After the fact. So, but it was such an epic, like the whole thing felt like a movie. Like, I'm there, right? And
people say it's scripted all the time. I'm like, dude, it almost does.
It felt like it, but because it was so epic. How did you manage that? Like, going into, you said you had confidence. You came out, I mean, literally looked like a superhero, and then there's controversy about you wearing the flag, and I'm listening to the commentary, all this stuff, and it's just it's literally a movie. I mean, it's Rocky Balboa, right? Like, this is the thing. How did you manage that? What gave you that edge? I'm sure the preparation to get there and all this stuff, but give me the little behind the scenes, because we see the big stage and all that stuff, but tell me what else is going on.
So, I mean, like I said earlier, that day was just so perfect. Like, I didn't have a thought in my mind that was negative. It was just another day, because when I thought about this many times, when I have my best days of wrestling in the practice room, it's any other day. I'm waking up, I'm eating breakfast, I'm coming up to scrap with the boys. Like we have match days on Fridays. Like those days, I'm not putting pressure on myself. Like, oh my gosh, like it's match day. Like today's the day I need to do good. You have to take the pressure off yourself.
Okay.
And if you can take the pressure off yourself, you can finally wrestle free. And that day I was just like, dude, I'm just chilling. Whatever happens, happens. Like I'm putting the work. Like you can't like, because people talk about like you just said, it was a big thing. It was the last match. The president's there. I'm wrestling Gable. If that's what's going through my head before the match or before that, it's like, dude, I'm not gonna be focused. But I was just like, just another day. Coach Taylor would go up to me. He's like, yeah, just another day. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm just ready to wrestle, hanging out. And what I usually do before wrestling, usually I always pray before I wrestle. But that time, because whenever I feel like I'm getting like I can't control it, I'm like, well, there's someone who can, so let's pray to him, so he can help me out.
That's good.
I probably prayed like 4 or 5 times before I wrestled, even like with the American flag around my back. Right before we went out, I'm like, coach, just come here. Like, we need to pray one more time, just because I needed that little sense of like, all right, I'm good, I'm still okay. But when I walked out there, I was just focused on wrestling. That was it. I was like, hey, let's stay in good position. You know, we had a game plan, of course, like small stuff, like, hey, like make sure you make it hard on him, like don't let him get easy points, make sure you move your feet, simple stuff. But I was just thinking about wrestling. Like I really become inaudible when I wrestle. I can't really hear anything. And so when I walked out there and Gable said something to me, I didn't know he said something. Like I rewatched him, like, oh, like, he followed me. Like I didn't know any of that. I just walked up there and saw him walk up to me, and I thought like, this is true. I thought he was like, hey man, like great job, like I appreciate you, because I just saw him. I shook his hand, but the handshake was like not like a hey, like I don't think he was expecting me to shake his hand, but I didn't hear what he said. So I was just, to me, no one's ever come up to me ever in my life since I started wrestling at 5 years old. No one's ever come up to me disrespectfully before wrestling match, ever. So I mean, why would I expect that now? Like people have done that out of respect. Like foreigners come up to you, shake your hand. So I just thought it was that, like, hey, let's have a good match. So I just looked at him and shook his hand. And I was like, okay, like, I didn't think anything of it. I wasn't like thrown off at all, because Coach Taylor came in the morning, and Coach Taylor came to me in the corner and was just like putting his hands on me. We would like he wants me to focus on my breath, and I did it, and I was like, I'm fine, like.
You weren't affected.
No, I wasn't affected at all, and I think that might have messed with him a little bit, because that was like what he was going for. But I was not. That's not what my mind was. I was just focused on myself, and so, I mean, it worked.
Yeah, that's a really interesting theme, because again, we believe God's in control of a lot of things, man, and even the fact that He kind of like, protected your ears in that moment, and
that was a big thing.
Then let you get in your head about it and get maybe over fired up, or because there's emotions both sides of that, because from the stands is like you looked like the more confident wrestler, which kind of wasn't supposed to be, right? Like he is the guy that's supposed to win it, but the fact that he approaches you and you kind of just shake his hand and walk up, I mean, it was kind of like, wait, what's going on? It felt like it should have been the other way around. And then the way you wrestled with, I mean, the word confidence is the only thing I can say. You wrestled like you were supposed to win.
Correct. It makes a difference in your wrestling, is what I'm trying to get at. It really does. That's proof of it. I love that you said that.
Absolutely. Give me the moment after, okay, you get that takedown, which, I mean, in my opinion, probably the best takedown of all time. I mean, just beautiful takedown, perfect technique, running corner, and I'm on my chair as well with everybody else in the place, like literally on my chair. Like I know you're getting it, because I see the angle and I see his leg, and I'm like, he's getting this. What are you thinking in that moment?
I got to hold him down. It's not over yet.
That's crazy though, right? You did have to hold him down.
Well, I was sitting there. I made up my mind, like, there's no overtime. Like, I'm winning this here and now. Like, this is it. And so I remember being in that situation, and I was like, just ride him. I tried to do the same thing I usually do. I start hooking the legs, because I'm like, dude, like, well, I remember I had a plan. In that moment, I said, okay, I'm going to keep him down. If he stands up, though, I'm going to lock my hands when he starts and just pick him up and just hold him in the air. Like, who cares about a stalling call? Right. Well, I guess I had one stalling call, but there was so short time. Yeah. But I remember sagging on him as hard as I could. And people were like, like he wasn't really trying. I'm like, dude, we were both tired. But I was like, if you knew how much pressure
you could tell.
Every muscle in my body, I was extending it, just cranking on him. And he tried to turn into me, but I was just sagging, and he couldn't do it.
It was beautiful, because when he did try to turn into you, basically just hipped him. I mean, he just went. I mean, at that point, it was over.
That was a lot of pressure.
Yeah, that's a ton of pressure. You get the win, then the emotions hit.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
Well, at first I was like, I didn't really know what to think. I was just grateful. I was just like, you looked up to God. I was like, yes. And then I fell. Then I don't really know. I remember just trying to take my headgear off, and the coaches are pulling me in the face. And I'm like, why am I laying down? This is exciting. So then it's so funny because only some camera angles got it. The one, like the main one you see, it just has me like, for me laying down and then me standing up. But I was like, yeah, like shoved him off me, like jumped up. I was like, oh, because I was like, where's my family at? I want to see my dad. I want to give my dad a hug. I want to give my wife a hug. Well, she's my fiance at the time, but we knew we were getting married. I wanted to give her a hug. Like, I was just so excited. I want to see my mom. And then I remember the ref pulled me back, and I was like, there's one time when I saw a super good match. One of my buddies, name's Tucker Lane, wrestled at Nebraska years ago. He was their heavyweight. He won a really big match and looked at the crowd and said, is there no one else? It's the scene from Troy after he slays that big guy. And I looked at the crowd and I'm like, that would be so cool right now. So I look, I'm like, is there no one else? And there's like a couple Twitter people that realized what I was saying. But I've been wanting to make an edit about that. But that was so cool. It was cool. But I shook his hand and then I was just so grateful. I was like, there's moments in life where you can really feel the presence of God. And that was one where God is like, hey, like, I'm proud of you. Thank you for representing me. And this is so special because even since I was a kid, since I was 5, 6, 7 years old, oh my gosh. Kids always give me for that when I say like 6, 7, like 6, 7.
Exactly, dude. I
was trying to tell these kids my life story, and I didn't know about this joke. And I was like, I was like 5, 6, 7, and they're like 6, 7. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. All right, back where we're at. But I was about that young age. My dad would always tell me like, hey, God's chosen you for something great. Like he didn't. I was like, I don't know what, but God has chosen you. And I'm grateful God did. Like even when I was younger, when I was 10, 11, 12, when I went to the Air Force Academy, when I went to Oklahoma State, my dad kept telling me, like, son, God has chosen you for something great, to represent him on the biggest stage. Like my dad has just felt that. Yeah. And that was that moment when I was like, this was it. You know, God had blessed me to on one of the biggest stages to, you know, show what's possible and so show how great of a God we serve. And so having that moment after, I was just pure joy. That was just my heart. Like I was like, God, like thank you so much. Like that was just, I felt so good because I wasn't thinking about where I was at. That was just like a me and God moment. That's all I was thinking about was me and him, not anything else in the arena. And then I kind of snapped back into it and I was like, oh, my boss is here. The commander-in-chief is here. Cool. That was really cool. Saluting him. And that was just, it was so cool. Everything in itself. Because I've been telling, you know, a lot of the guys in the team, like they know I was a good wrestler, but it's also like he's going against Gable. So they're always like, hey, like we know, like we got you. But I'm like, nah, dude, like I got this. But after I saw them all, I was like, I told you, boy. I was so excited to go see him because they were like, yeah, that was so cool. It was so cool. It was just cool.
So cool. We go down in history as one of the greatest matches ever.
It was a good match.
Yeah, it was awesome. One thing to Gable's credit, I will say it was cool that he came back out.
Correct.
And I like that because I kind of thought he wouldn't. You know, just I thought he'd disappear and do his thing, but he came back out with shaking people's hands and smiling. Was he cool with you afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, I think he was just like, hey, good job, and I, mean, I really haven't spoken to him since then. But I mean, I'm glad. Yeah.
I mean, great competitor, man.
Yeah,
it's great.
He came back to wrestle this year. I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
People always said like, man, like, are you scared now? I'm like, if anything, it's awesome. Yeah. Like now I get a chance to beat Gable.
Yeah.
And I said that I was saying that all the way back when he joined. Wow. That wasn't like a recent thing because when he joined, a lot of people don't believe me, which doesn't really matter. I don't really care. But they were like, I was like, no, like we really never sat down with the coaches. Like we never mentioned anything. Like, it didn't really. It never changed our goals. Like whenever I kind of expected it from them, and I was like, hey guys, like I like this. If anything, this is good. Like I'm more excited. But we never talked about it. Just next day went to practice and that was it. It didn't change a thing. I was like, oh, they're already confident in me.
Yeah, that's cool.
They don't need to sit down. Yeah.
So that kind of brings me to the Oklahoma connection. I thought maybe because Gable and you know, obviously David had been on a team together, I thought, well, maybe this is a good opportunity. Back, you know, behind the scenes, they were working on some stuff. Did any of that happen? Was it like I've wrestled? David's like, I wrestled Gable. This is the type of stuff he does. I mean, there's a lot of film, obviously, but
yeah, the biggest thing was they didn't want to like change who I was wrestling. Yeah, like we're not going to wrestle to wrestle one guy.
Love that. I love that.
When he was teaching me stuff, like if I wasn't like we're doing a move and I'm doing it a little bit lazy, like I'm not moving my feet all the way, he's like, hey, that'll work against 99% of the guys, but we're trying to be the best. We want to beat the best guys. That's true. And sometimes we'd use their names, like he's wrestling. Sometimes say, hey, this is a position where Gable's pretty good here, or hey, Kirk LeVay's pretty good here. So just be careful when you're doing this,
for sure,
because we're trying to beat the best guys, and so that's what it's going to take. So it wasn't like, hey, this is what he does. This is how we're going to defend it. It was more like, hey, if you want to be a good wrestler, this is going to help you because the best wrestlers are doing this right now. And I'm like, well, coach, I'm doing it, so of course it's going to be good. Love it. We did that a couple times, but it was more like strategy going into that match. Like, hey, make it hard on him. No easy points, and move your feet and make sure you're circling. And so it was really small basic stuff to look out for.
So Oklahoma State, you go there, your last year. Did that, I mean, obviously I know you got your love for your Air Force time, and I love that. But did your wrestling change, not necessarily as a wrestler, but did anything change going and working with David and all those guys?
I think anytime you go to a new coach, you get a new perspective on something. If you ask 100 coaches their opinion on like one position in wrestling, you're probably gonna get a bunch of different answers. And the more different variety of coaches I've been able to get coached by, I've always improved. And there was like 4 or 5 really good coaches at the Oklahoma State that like just added to what I already had. And so we didn't like change the foundation. My foundation had already been built at the Air Force Academy, the type of wrestler I was. But they were able to like mold a couple different things and help me. Because I was like 95% of the way there, but they kind of helped those last finishing touches. Like, wrestling is a game of inches and ounces at the highest level, and they were just helping me with those small things. And so I probably had privates with all the coaches, like Coach Caldwell, Coach Taylor, Coach Kennedy, Coach Gilman, even Coach Pearsall. Like, there's been points when they all helped me. And I love that because they all see something a different way. And it was so unique to see how only certain things connect. Like, Coach Taylor had told me the same thing, like, for a month. And then actually Dayton Fix, I was talking to him about it, and he said it one way that connected with me. I was like, oh my gosh, like, that makes so much sense. And I went and showed Coach Taylor, and he's like, are you joking right now? Like, is this a joke? I'm like, no. Like, look, he showed me this. Like, I've been teaching you that for like a month. And I was like, well, I finally realized how to do it.
That's good.
So that's always helpful.
That's cool. We'll get used to that if you become a parent, because that happens all the time.
I know.
Over and over again.
That's why I love in parents, because when I tell kids stuff like wrestling camps, like, hey, can you just tell my kids something? Because they never listen when I say it. And sometimes it's not, what's said, but it's like who says it. I get that. And so I usually try to incorporate stuff that my dad said to me that I never listened to him about, because I know these kids are probably going to listen to me or hopefully pay attention. So I like to say those things that where the parents are like, yes, like, thank you. Like, hey, thank you for saying that. Like, I've been telling them that, but now he'll probably listen to me about it. So.
It's good. My kids are the same way. I think every kid goes through that. But so the obviously the program's amazing out there. I would say maybe one of the biggest things probably that was awesome for you was probably like competing in that environment. Did that help kind of the last, kind of shape you for that last match? Because I mean, bro, they get down in Stillwater. Like they like to wrestle there. They get loud. They bring the crowd. I like that.
I love that. But honestly, more than that, I kind of like a hostile environment. Like wrestling.
Do you really?
Wrestling in Iowa was fun. Well, because in my brain, everyone's always clapping for me. That's something really important, like that mental thing I talked about. Like when I go into Iowa and everyone's cheering, I just imagine, oh yeah, they're all cheering for me.
Gotcha.
Like it's a mental thing. Okay. And it's just kind of that extra. I just get that extra little oomph of like, like, I'm gonna beat you in your own territory. Like even this match was supposed to be in Stillwater, but I mean, just for certain reasons, the production wasn't going to work there, so they moved it to Indiana.
Gotcha.
And some people are like, "Hey, does that change it? Because that's Mason's home turf." Like, dude, if anything, like that just makes it more fun for me. Like, I'm going to come into your house and beat you up. So
that's cool.
But that environment in Gallagher is also it's super fun. It's super fun, but it did help for sure. But at the end of the day, like whoever's yelling, they're always cheering for me. So.
I love your guys' crew out there. I mean, I've got to know a lot of them pretty well, and they're just incredible humans. Joey McKenna is one of my favorite people on the planet.
Love Joey.
He's just awesome. And the Taylors are incredible, from dad, mom, the kids, everybody.
And that's what makes it special.
Yeah.
It's not all about wrestling. I'm glad you said that, because at the end of the day, when we go do stuff as a team with the boys, like it's more than wrestling. And that's what I tell kids at camp. That's another thing I say is like, guys, like don't find your identity in the outcome of a wrestling match, because it's not all about wrestling. At the end of the day, like there's so much more to life, and if you like don't let that get you down, because that's what I did at one point. If I had a bad wrestling meet, well, I had a terrible week the next week, because hey, my identity's on the outcome and I lost. Now it's good to sit put your head down and like think about why you lost, but you should never be sitting there thinking about that for more than an hour or two. You got to move on. That's why that's why I love wrestling so much, because it teaches you how to deal with that adversity, because you will deal with adversity at some point in your wrestling career. I interrupted you, but I wanted to make a point that you're exactly right, that in Stillwater, that's why I think it's so special, because it's more than wrestling. It's not just a wrestling town. It's like a community of people that care about each other, and everyone on the team cares about each other, which is what makes it that much more like, hey, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for my teammates. That's like, cool. I'm doing this for everyone else on the team. Because if I'm just wrestling for myself sometimes, like, that's what I talked about, that maturity level. Like, hey, like, yes, I'm wrestling for myself, but if there's a point in that match where I lose faith in myself, hey, I'm not doing this for me anymore. I'm doing this for these guys. And that matters a lot to me. Hopefully it should, which is why I like to wrestle hard for those boys every time.
That's so good. And, you know, and that's exactly the point I was making. Is like, I think that's what's transparent to me, is like, it's so much bigger than wrestling there.
It is.
And that's so cool to watch.
It's a great community.
Yeah.
People at the gas station, even before, like, even knew I was a wrestler or who knew I transferred there, like, early on, people are just like, hey, man, like, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. Like, what's up? Like, oh, I like your truck, dude. Good to see you. Like, yeah, I'm James. I'm like, oh, there's like a normal thing here. And so it's not just the wrestling community. It's like the whole town as a place is just, it's a fun place to be. I enjoy it.
Super cool. Just a couple. I know you got other things you got to do, but just a couple questions. Like, who's your heroes?
Well, there's many people, but the answer that most people give, but I'm also give reason why, is probably my mom and my dad. Mostly my dad, mainly because where he was at in life. I mean, everyone gets dealt certain cards, but it's just like poker. Like, you can still have bad cards and win the hand.
For sure.
And finally, when I got older, I realized why he is the way he is and everything.
Sure.
But I mean, we never had too many grandparents growing up. My dad's mom died when he was really young, when he was 11. And it was just hard. And my grandfather was in the Navy, so he was gone. So I think at 14, my grandpa gave my dad like $50 in a car and said, I'm leaving for another 8 months, so good luck. And he's worked so hard his entire life. I talk about that hard work ethic. I'd never realized how much that meant until like I was like 20. Like, obviously in high school, I knew it affected me. But then, like, you look back, because we'd be doing something, like we'd be doing tires or something in the garage, or a flat tire. I'm like, oh, do you want me to take it? And he's like, no, I'll do it. And he just goes and whips it out really fast. I'm like, what the heck? Like, how do you know how to do that? He's like, son, I worked at a tire shop the first 3 years of college. And then we'll be doing something else. Like, we're throwing hay bales up, and he's like stacking them perfect, throwing them like nothing. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, well, son, the last couple years of college, I had to work 10 hours, and I worked at a place stacking hay. Like, his story of where he went, because he went to a small place called Nucla in Colorado, like population 480. I think it's growing to 500 maybe in the past 20 years. But he just refused to give up in life. And what he did for himself, now he's a doctor. He went to chiropractic school, and that was another God moment, like how I met my mom and everything. He just went to some one school and saw this God just, there was this pamphlet. He describes like this pamphlet just was like shining behind it. Like, hey, pick this up. And he picked it up, and it said Cleveland Chiropractic College. And he was like, God, I don't know what this means. Because he was like, just give me a sign, God. And he's like, he had no idea like anything about it. He just said, I'm doing this. Uplifted everything and just went and moved colleges straight to there. Like, it was the very first day. But then also on the opposite side, my mom, she went to school for 4 years to be a teacher, had some symptoms with her nose, couldn't get sick, went and saw a chiropractor one time, and they fixed what no doctor could in like a year. And she's like, I am doing this. And the first pamphlet they gave her was Cleveland Chiropractic College. First day of class in Cleveland Chiropractic College, my parents meet. So that's really cool how that whole story happened. But just like my dad's journey of everything, because I had it pretty good. Like, compared to him, I grew up, we never money. I never worried about like my next meal. But my dad still wanted us to be grateful for everything. Like, even in the shower, he would sit outside the shower, and he's like, as soon as you turn the water on, you get in. You don't wait for it to get warm. We're not wasting water. He'd set a clock for 2 minutes.
No chance.
Like, if you're not done in 2 minutes, you're shutting the water off. Yeah, and he did it to my sister a couple times as she started getting older. And I mean, I get it now. I have a wife. Like, they have to wash their hair and stuff. Because my sister would be like, he'd turn the water off and tell her to get out, and she's got soap in her hair, and she's like, Dad, just let me shower.
That's wild.
or like, he like tell her that he wouldn't. He'd be like, hey, like, shut the water off. You're done. She's like, no, and he's like, do it now, and she'd shut off and walk out, and her hair's all. It was so funny. Just all the stories of like how he was hard on us, because he wanted us to know, like, he wanted us to be grateful for everything and understand the value of money. And just, he gets really emotional about it now, because I asked him about those stories now. And we're at that point where we can chat about that stuff, and it's just really unique to hear. Like, he gets emotional about how his life was, because I mean, it could have gone so many different ways, and he wanted to go to the military academies and enlist, but like there's a reason God did that for a reason.
Right.
Like, nah, you got to meet this person and have
so
your son
cool.
Wyatt. So it's just the whole story and all. Like, I'm just really proud of the person he is because, I mean, it's just I could not imagine where he was at, and he never had that victim mindset. And he really instilled that into me of like, hey, you got what it takes. Like I said, ever since I was a kid, my dad just knew like, hey, God's blessed you with something great. I don't know what it is yet. I can't tell you what it is, but I know God's blessed you to represent him on the biggest stage.
So cool. So cool. Going kind of full circle here. Now we're at RAF4.
Yep.
And you've been a part of this organization for a while. What's it feel like to be a part of this organization that's taking something that you've given your entire almost life to and putting it at a level that I think is finally matching what you've put in, you know, giving you what you deserve, in my opinion. What's that feel like?
It feels really good to know that more people care about wrestling. Obviously, that first event was like, hey, we don't know what's going to happen. But now our RAF04, people are supporting it. It's growing like crazy. So it's really cool to see because this is something that's been a part of my entire life. If you're not a wrestling fan, you don't know wrestling, you look at a match like, wow, 2 guys in the leotards dancing. For me, it's never been that. This is my way of life. So having people not look at it that way, and we're like, oh, like, dude, this is legit. Like, this is wrestling. Like, you're real athletes. I'm like, yeah, we've been real athletes my entire life. But it's really cool just to see how not only the wrestling community has like doubled down on it, but also people that haven't watched wrestling are kind of watching it. And what I mean double down, like sometimes people are like they're involved in wrestling, but then they watch an RAF event and they're like, wow, like I'm that's my bucket list. Like I gotta make it to one of these RAF events. Like this is so cool. So it's like that excitement that's like getting sparked in everyone again. And so I'm still here. I'm gonna keep wrestling. It's awesome.
Yeah, they're doing a great job with it for sure. We just got the cue that you got something going on here shortly. So I'm just gonna close with a couple just rapid fires. I could talk to you all day because you just have incredible words. But favorite wrestling move?
High crotch.
Okay. Least favorite conditioning drill?
Versa.
Okay.
Versa climbers.
Yeah, yeah. The match you're most proud of though.
Say that. What is that?
The match that you're most proud of.
Probably that one in high school that made me completely turn the corner. If it weren't for that, I never would have been the wrestler I am today.
Gotcha. Favorite food?
Definitely a good old cheeseburger.
Yeah. Okay. Pre-match routine that you have to have.
I have to do I do like a little stance of motion, chop my feet, 10 push-ups. That's like my mental reset. And I always listen to like really calm music, like from Oppenheimer, like sound, no words, just sound, just to let me just kind of zen out a little bit.
I like it. Well, cool. Well, here's my thing I do in this podcast a lot. I always pray about the people that I have in here. I'm a man of faith as well. And I like God just to give me a character or word of encouragement to the person that I'm talking to. And as I was thinking about you and praying about this opportunity I had to talk to you, God typically gives me a character. And the character that he spoke to me, and it's interesting that you kind of told me your story, it lines up. He was telling me that Daniel, and he was specifically talking about the lion's den.
Yeah.
And he was saying over and over again that what was meant to shame you, kill you, destroy you, is what will be what made you.
Yeah.
And the fame will come out of that adversity. In the pedestal that God's building for you is out of the thing that they were trying to destroy you with.
Exactly.
And so God just wants you to know that anytime it feels like you're in a lion's den, that God is giving you an opportunity once again to be a victor. Yeah. And so, dude, we're fans. I'm proud of you. Dude, I can't wait to see all that you do, not only in wrestling, but in life. Thank you for everything you do, brother.
Heck yeah. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you
being on here. Keep fighting for success, bro.
Sounds good.